Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Okay. Get this thing going. All my goodies lined up that I'm going to talk about today. Well, hi. It is 1 o'clock my time, so I'm going to start. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft-related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today is my witchy review, and I'm going to talk about totally different things. One of them is the book that I read, and yeah, just have some fun this fine Friday. So, not many folk are in here just yet, and that's okay. I'm going to get going anyway. Hopefully people will come in. Otherwise, in the comments, feel free to chime in, offer suggestions, or whatever else. I would appreciate that. What was I going to say? Dang it, I lost my train of thought. Oh, well, it'll come back to me. Yeah, so let me go ahead and jump into it. First and foremost, where I live, my Whole Foods has resins, incense, which I think a lot of them do now because witchcraft has become so popular, but I was able to pick these up today. This is red sandalwood incense, and then dragon's blood resin incense. Now, it's not that these are necessarily difficult things to find, but you don't find this I don't come across this very often. So these were definitely wonderful finds. It says here, bring the wonderful sweet aromas of the forest into your home or office. It says the same thing on the back of both of these packages. These beautiful resins are pure tree sap. They have harvested since ancient times for sacred ceremony, and they're wonderful fragrance. Use hot charcoal to burn resins. I didn't even look to see if they had charcoal. I think they did. But my point is what a day to be alive. Like, this is just sold at your local supermarket, well, Whole Foods, very easily. And I'm like, this is awesome. I have some work to do, and I know I'm going to be using for sure this dragon's blood resin incense around the moon cycle, the new moon that is coming. So this is pretty awesome. So anyway, yeah, and there were plenty. It was a lot of different variations in there. So how about that? That was a fun surprise. Now, I want to talk about the crystals that I got off of Amazon. The links are in the description, so you should see them. So the brand, this is the brand. This is how it came. I bought two things. This is how it came. Yeah, here, let me hold that steady. Wisdom comes from nature. So, I'm gonna open the box. Okay. So it's pretty heavy. So these are like rough stones. So this is the package. This is all the stones are inside here. I love this little bag. I think this is really nice. And it came with just this one little card to, with their logo on it. And finally on the back to tell you what you actually purchased. And just so you know, well, I'll show you. And then they gave me a gift of these other stones. Look at this, is marked gift. So I got these other additional stones, which I thought was really nice. So let me tell you what I got. I was impressed. I'm gonna spoiler. Okay, so let me just lay these out. It's a lot. Not a lot, but it's a good amount. They're rough. At first I struggled with trying to figure out what it was that was in the packaging, because some of them kind of look the same. And some, with me with crystals sometimes, I struggle, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, an oldie but goodie I have to help me with that. You know, how many are in here? My goodness. Okay. So now that I have them all out, let me get into this conversation. So, clear quartz, they sent me this. These are rough. And I do like that. So clear quartz, they sent me Dalmatian Jasper, which when I look on the card, it's like, it looks like it's darker. You're not going to be able to see, but probably it's this one right here where I'm pointing. But this is what this is. So anyway, Dalmatian Jasper. So this is going to be fun. Then they sent me Ruby Zoysite. Forgive me if I'm saying this wrong. Ruby Zoysite. So that's going to be this one. And tiger eyes. They put tiger eyes. And it's the rough kind. So bear with me while I figure out. Okay, so here's where I got a little confused. I thought these were almost the same thing. One is, oh, this is the red jasper. Okay, so this is tiger eye. And this is red jasper. Okay, and then citrine, which is going to be the yellow one. It's very raw. Citrine. Isn't that pretty though? When you just really look at it, I think this is so pretty with the way the light hits it. And Amazonite, that's the bluish one. That's this. Get closer, you can see. Isn't that pretty? Then black tourmaline. That was easy to find. Okay. That's that one. And then lapis lazuli. That's going to be this, which looks really good. Green fluorite. I have an extra one in here. I'm about to tell you that right now, and I don't know where it's from, but here's the green fluorite. Also cool when the light hits it. And then finally, rose quartz. Which when I look at this, it looks like a piece of soap. To me, I know it's weird. Okay. Then I have this, which I don't know what it is, because this is not listed. But there's another stone in here. Does anybody know what this is? Let me get closer. Does anybody have any idea what this stone is? I don't know. It's not part of it because that's 6, so it's 12. So unless I said something wrong, so that's 6. Yeah. Oh wait, no. Did I miscount? All right. So what did I skip? Clear quartz. I'm doing this with you guys. Dalmatian Jasper, the ruby zoysite, tiger eye, red jasper, citrine, amazonite, black tourmaline, the lapis lazuli, amethyst. Oh, amethyst. Wait, where's the amethyst? Uh-oh. I'm missing amethyst. Okay, we got a problem. Okay. Yeah, thank you, the Alt Barbie doll. Fluorite, yes, maybe it was, but this is, so wait, what was this? This was the lapis. Okay, so I'm missing the, yeah, they didn't send me amethyst. They gave me this here, but this is not amethyst. That's what I'm missing. Okay, well, in real time, that's why you have to check these things. So I just assumed, I went through them just to make sure, you know, there was something in the package for today, but dang, they jipped me, and I wanted more amethyst. Oh, that's going to be a problem. So I will be contacting the company. I'll keep you posted. They did send me this gift, which I'll have to figure out what these stones are. at some point. But yeah, now separately from entirely different company, this one again is Simorg, another company. I just wanted Tiger's Eye. So these were not, these were tumbled stones. So look at these. This is, look, isn't this beautiful? Let me see if I can hold this where you could see it. But isn't it so pretty? I've always had one and then I lost it. Crystal for Tiger's Eye, but I bought 3 of these. Well, I think they came in a pack of 3, but this is perfect for what I need for later. But isn't that pretty? I'm trying to hold it. But yeah, that's a different company. That order came in just fine. But yeah, they messed my order. Oh man. All right, so I'm a little, okay, maybe I don't recommend. I don't know. The quality of what I sent was fine, but apparently somebody messed up. It happens. I'm not going to take it personal because sometimes, you know, humans are doing this, right? We're getting amethyst string lights in our goddess box this month. You and this guy, you know what? I keep saying I'm going to look into it. I'm going to look into it. I am. When I'm done, I'm really going to do it. If I do it now, I wonder if I'll get the box when you get it. I wonder if it's too late. But what I wanted to say, if you were struggling with crystals, let's say you went on a binge and you bought a bunch of crystals and, you know, you blessed them and you put them out and you forgot promptly months later, years later, what some of those crystals were. It happens. This has been one of the best things that I've had to figure out what something is. It's full color. So I always know, for instance, the Jasper, for instance. Yeah, let's go with that one, Jasper. I'm going to turn to this page. I've had this book forever. But look, it's a full color page so you can compare, you know, and see how it looks when it's tumbled and when it's, you know, raw. I'll get the same box. All right, I'm going to do it. All right, I'm going to stop playing around about this. Also, it tells me more about it. So yeah, I got these stones, but I get to understand a little bit more. So I'm going to take, and it's in alphabetical order. So for instance, like Tiger's Eye, because, you know, it happens. We have a lot of information. Sometimes we don't remember every single thing. And, you know, you kind of forget. So this is Tiger's Eye. So it'll tell me this book has been around. It's still for sale. I believe it's still for sale. But yeah, it tells you like attributes of Tiger's Eye. It tells you healing, position, specific colors. Like there's different types. There's a blue Tiger's Eye. I didn't realize that. Gold's Tiger's Eye, red Tiger's Eye, Hawk's Eye. Oh, that's something different. It's like a variation, but it really gets into it. But Tiger's Eye treats the eyes and aids night visions, heals the throat and reproductive organs, and dissolves constrictions. It's helpful for repairing broken bones. And it goes into a lot more detail about the attributes. That it combines earth energy with the energies of the sun to create a high vibrational state that is nevertheless grounded, drawing the spiritual energies to earth. Placed on the third eye, it enhances psychic abilities and earthy people and balances the lower chakras, stimulating the rise of Kundalini energy. Like this is, do you keep a list of all the crystals you own? No, I do not, but I appreciate the idea. That's another reason to start and get another book. No, I don't, but I am accumulating a lot, so I really should. And I think I should start like my own version of this, but obviously just for myself, I could take a picture and then print out the picture. Because, oh, I got some cute photo paper too. Another craft idea. Thank you very much. Thank you as always for the ideas. I appreciate it. Actually, I will be doing that. Thank you for telling me. All right. And I'll share it here. But yeah, so this is the sort of stuff, like this book has been around for a while, but it'll give a little bit more information. I'm trying to see how woo-woo they get. So I can't remember. I don't look at this often. I mean, I've had this book for years. Actually, this was my daughter's because she was really into crystals back when she was like in middle school. And she is now 25, so this was some time ago. Was it middle school or high school? Something like that. What is the copyright date on this thing? 2003. Anyway, so maybe it was before then. Um, Wear on the right arm or as a pendant for short periods. Position on the body as appropriate in healing. Place on the navel chakra for spiritual grounding. Like, what? This stone is useful for recognizing both your needs and those of other people. I mean, it just really breaks it down. So, if you struggle, like I said, if you don't know A Definitive Guide to Crystals by Judy Hall, this is featuring over 200 crystals. Like, this is the best. There are websites. I don't have any link, but I know at some point in life I found websites that talked about crystals and they would have a picture, but this one goes into like a lot more detail, and it's not a new book and it's not like part of my witchy review. But since I'm talking about crystals, and if you want to know, Hoodoo uses tiger's eye for prosperity. Ooh. I've always thought it's tiger's eye also for protection as well, but like they talk about that. I don't know if they said anything about that or not in here. I didn't read the whole thing. It's like more from a will create a high vibrational state, and it's part of and I can understand why, because it's earth energy, and material possessions, wealth, all that is earth energy. Yeah, so that would make sense. Why wouldn't it be, right? Tapping into when we talk about the worldly pleasures, the earthly pleasures, all that sort of stuff. So I can see how this might be used for that purpose. Tiger's eye. So anyway, I was led to do that because I'm going to be doing some other stuff. Fun fact, I did not realize it was specifically taught to that, but it's going to work in what the type of workings that I'm going to be doing. So thank you for telling me that. This is another thing, when I get like those moments where my intuition kicks in and I don't really know why, I just know I should do this or not do something. The older I get, the better I get at just doing that, even if it seems like it's going to be a problem for maybe it's something else, or it might be inconvenient, not a problem, inconvenient. I still do it, and if I can't, I begin to question, which is rare, because I'm normally never asked to do something I can't follow through on. That's why I question sometimes when people say, well, I just know I'm supposed to do this thing, or I'm supposed to be with this person, but that person doesn't want to be with you, or they're already tied to somebody else who feels very strongly that they're supposed to be with them also. You have to be careful. Is that you? Is that your ego? Are you really getting a message? Because I don't think that our ancestors and spirits and so forth, which I'm about to get into with the book that I review, have positioned us to put us in a place where we're having to do the impossible. I understand being challenged, and if you agree with the concept of being tested, I have a hard time believing that they want us to be in put us in unnecessarily impossible positions to make us do something. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that, and because of that, that's honestly, it doesn't mean that I'm always asked to do easy things. They might seem strange, they might seem inconvenient, but never anything where I feel like I'm endangering myself, endangering someone else, their life. Anything that is causing harm to someone, I'm not being told or led to do that. My intuition or the message, or however you want to say it, doesn't lead me to that. And I think if you feel that's happening, one, let's talk about the relationship that you have, who you have this relationship with. And if you feel like it's part of your higher self, your intuition or whatever that's doing it, then let's talk about what else is going on here. Let's dig a little deeper to find out why, you feel led to take somebody else's, somebody, or, disrupt someone else's life or harm yourself or someone else. I don't think that's the plan. I don't think we were created for that purpose, but that's just me. Now, it doesn't mean that if you ask them to help you, do some of the stuff I just said that's different, but I don't think they like just come into you and be like, yeah, go over there and, take that guy's woman. No, I don't think so. But anyway, moving on. The other thing, this is the main thing, the Ancient Orishas. So this is a fairly new book. This is kind of hot off the presses. It was just published this year. Anyone can connect with the Orisha, but you will need some support. A devotee or Yoruba spiritualist can help guide you. But before you take the leap, you need to understand the Orishas first, the Orisha first. This book offers just that, a deep dive into what you need to know, as well as steps you can take to connect with the Orisha on your own in modern times. Powerful, enlightening, and thought-provoking. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I think for a lot of us who, you hear a lot about Orisha, Jade Asakiwa, I thought this was a black author. Don't let me start lying. Oh, I didn't double check. I looked at the name and I assumed I probably should not have done that, right? Let me do a quick check because I want to get that right. Jade I'm pretty sure. I thought when I saw the profile, I saw the author was black. I'm like 99% sure. But that 1% is going to make me a little nervous, so, because I don't want to get it wrong. Who are you? Yes, she is black. That's her. So she is, in fact, a black lady. But I'm going to say this about her book. This, hands down, had to be the most straightforward. You can see it's not very long. Straightforward, easy to digest, easy to understand breakdown of the Orisha. She doesn't write this book so that you could put up an altar, so that you can, excuse me, make that, start worshiping them, or go into, just call yourself a specific religion, or say that you are initiated. She doesn't tell you any of that in this book. That is not what she's telling you. She told, what I just read, she said what she said. That's what she's telling you. And I feel like this had to be one of the most concise books on the subject. Like, seriously, this was. I can't understand why no one else has made this simple, or I just haven't come across it. But this was something, honestly, you could read this in a day, because you're like, okay, I mean, quite frankly, there might be parts you skip over. But I read this in almost one day. A day and a half, and I was able to get the necessary information that I needed. First of all, the cover art is pretty cool. Look at that. I like the cover art. But she, in the beginning, she tells you the book description in the front, so there's no, she breaks it down. Find tales of the Yoruba pantheon and dive deep into the significance of the gods hold in the significance the gods hold in the lives of the average Yoruba person. Learn more about the path of the Orisha. Discover who the 7 highly revered Orishas are, including spells and rituals for each. She goes into that. But it's just enough for you to understand. Learn more about the Yorubas and the Orishas' history and relevance to the tribe. Read about the many Orisha festivals in Africa. That was helpful. Understand the importance of intention and why you need to have it, and so much more. But I like how she, again, reiterates anyone can connect with the Orisha, because anyone can. And I totally agree with that, because I have connected, and I am not initiated, not trying to be initiated. And I don't feel like I'm being led to be initiated. She says, but you will need some support. See how she's doing? She's telling you that. To me, this is like what you hear, a lot of people of that faith who, I understand they need to gatekeep, because you got a lot of people out here, they dress up in yellow and, say they're a daughter of Oshun, and they will go out and speak on subjects that they don't know better on, and then influence others. So I completely understand why they're so kind of like, hold up, no, you need, to have a proper reading, you need to go through initiation. There's levels to this, basically. And there literally are. But I do appreciate that even though there's levels, it doesn't mean that I can't understand if someone from African descent, from someone with mostly Nigerian background, and that's the Yoruba people, that's the area, by the way, she talks about it. Um, she is, the author basically kind of, hey, you're allowed to absorb this knowledge, you're allowed to understand it. If you want to do more with this, then by all means seek support, get, to someone you can trust. She even acknowledges not everyone is trustworthy. Some people are out to take your money and not really guide you properly. So I completely understand that. Now, I love the fact that she's going into the history. I love where she talks about like who are the Yoruba, understanding the concept of Orisha, and the way she broke it down. Just if you just wanted to understand that a little bit more, because you hear things, you're not really there, so to speak. A lot of us are walking around, we want to know more, but the sources that we're getting the information, it seems a little conflicting, or just people just say words and use terms that maybe some of us should know or understand technically, I guess, but we don't. I'm probably one of those people, because I have sat in front of my computer or on my phone, and I've watched people talk about these very subjects who are, well versed and they've been practicing for some years, and they start pronouncing words and referencing things as if everyone knows it and I don't know it. And you lose me, quite frankly. You lose me when you do that. And I listen, I know context clues. So it's like I'm applying that knowledge of trying to understand what they mean. And wait, what does that mean? And it becomes a little, I feel like it's a secret club that technically, I got the invite to get in, but when I get there, I feel low-key snubbed. That's just facts. That's just how I feel a lot of times when it comes to spaces, at least on a virtual aspect, where we're talking about this subject, Orishas and things like that. I just feel like it's like a cool black girl club or black person's club. And, if you weren't an early adopter, like, you just asked out. I don't know. Literally, and I know some people was like, oh no, why would you say that? But that's how it kind of feels. And I'm someone who loves to research, and I love to read, and I'll watch a documentary, and I'll watch all these things. So it's like I have knowledge, but putting it all together, honestly, I think she kind of helped me put a lot more together, where it's like, oh, okay, everything, like she laid it out very clearly for me where it made sense. It's not wordy. She doesn't go into all this other detail that I don't necessarily need. With that being said, there was one part in the book that threw me. Okay, so she's talking about the Orisha. She's talking about the Yoruba people. She's talking about, clearly we're talking about in Africa. She's giving you a little bit of history about would you say exactly a club, but I don't feel like I'm welcome. Exactly, where I feel like my invitation is the fact of my ancestry. So you said you don't feel well. Yeah, it's like we got the invite. They sent the invite is automatic, but when you show up, it's like people looking around like, why is she here? Because you didn't know all the hip lingo right off the bat. And quite frankly, the modern version of the way people are practicing Yoruba-based, I'll just say Yoruba-based tradition, spirituality. It feels like that. My own experience recently is where someone said, oh, well, yeah, that, the witchcraft, the European way of doing magic is just, or something along those lines. Basically, the non-African stuff, that's just magic, but that's not spirituality. Where I've had deep spiritual connections with what I do, but they didn't mean any harm. I don't even think they realized how offensive that was to say. But it's like, well, is it my fault that, I didn't grow up in a household where this was accessible and taught because they didn't know? Is it my fault that, my grandmom wasn't really into this outwardly? So, and so forth and so on. So who was supposed, I missed the meeting, so nobody told me. And I just grew up. So as an adult, I began to get a lot more open spiritually. But even when this type of information was not accessible and easy to find out. And since I'm older, the internet was really coming on board. And you were having people on there, but like even now, you can't believe all the information that's given. And there weren't like books like this readily accessible at all by any means for you to get to. And I felt like people was always talking in coded language and then mixing things up with Christianity because that's what they knew. But I digress. Anyway, the part that throws me off a little bit is she's giving all this background. So I'm just going to tell you the context here. Contents. Who were the Yorubas? Chapter 1. Chapter 2, the Yoruba and Orisha. Chapter 3, understanding the concept of Orisha. Chapter 4, categories of Orisha. I was intrigued. I was in. Chapter 5, what is Santeria? Now, you would think, or Santeria, I'm saying that wrong, Santeria. All right, I got to there. Now, I didn't study the contents. I just was, getting into it. So I'm waiting for the next chapter to be whatever else, that uses Orishas, but she doesn't go into that. The next thing is paths of the Orisha. So when I get to this little chapter, I'm like, all right, well, I'm flipping. I was like, why did she just stop and tell me about this? Santeria is a blend of Catholic practices and African traditional beliefs, which rose to prominence in the 17th century and has been a part of Cuban society ever since. Then she goes on a little bit. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are you telling me this? This is the only part in the book that I don't understand. If you were telling me this about Santeria in the context of you're talking about other paths that use Orishas and things like that, and breakouts and, immersions and things like that, that is based in Yoruba-based traditions, I could understand. But this is the only one that she's talking about. So I was like, what was the point? I don't understand why she did that. I read it and I was like, thanks for the information. But the way it's presented, if you're reading it, you would think Santeria is the path of to follow and understand more about Orishas. I don't know. And I read it trying to understand why that was a chapter. What was the point? But maybe it was just to give an overview, and I'm putting myself in the head of the author. Maybe she was thinking, let me give this tradition, the spirituality to explain. I don't know. Then she makes a point to say this. This is why I want to talk more about this. She says, just as many of the modern belief systems, the practitioners at Santeria believe that there is only one God, Allah Dumari, the creator of all. If I didn't say that right, I just had a whole tangent on why I probably didn't say that right, and I don't know. So, on that. Santeria is not a pagan religion. Neither is it polytheistic. It isn't an animistic religion either. And I felt like she wanted to make that point. There was another section where she was talking about it not being... people who practice this are not, I'm trying to remember something about it's not witchcraft. And she wanted to make a point, she drove the point hard. And I was like, who is that? Oh, here it is. Yeah, Santeria it's a whole section. Look, Santeria isn't witchcraft. That's why I guess this stood out to me. Many people are scared or skeptical about Santeria because of their association of witchcraft practices. It is not witchcraft, neither is it in any way related to witchcraft. It does not study spells or teach you how to use spells to harm anyone or otherwise. Only misguided people who are void of adequate knowledge believe that Santeria can be used for sinister purposes such as winning the lottery, harming an enemy, or making someone love them. All right. I understand the whole responsibility thing. I get why she would need to say this. I really do, because, some people don't, they're not rocking with a full deck. They're not coming, with the best intentions. And some people, let's just be honest, trauma issues, they just don't rationalize like the rest of us, some of us in society. They just don't. We just have to accept that. So they're coming to this as well, right? And she's addressing that part. So I totally get it. However, however, I think it was the part about does not study spells or teach how to use spells to harm anyone, but you didn't counter to were there spells to do good, or you know what I mean? It's to me the implication is that one only uses spells for harm or all these other negative things, as if witchcraft is tied to something negative. And that I don't know, that part, I don't know, that kind of bugged me a little bit. It's just this one chapter that seriously bugged me, and I'm like, ma'am, what was your point? Why did you branch out about the Orishas specifically to talk about this? And I'm like, then I'm thinking maybe she's about to tell me something in, you know, that path where they do something, see the Orishas differently. Like maybe that's the point. No. No. A little bit. She does. The Orishas were regarded as messengers between the humans and the divine. Priests summoned them through a variety of methods, such as possession and trances, divination, ritual, as well as sacrifice. To an extent, Santeria involves magical practice, even though this magical system is founded on interaction with and the understanding of the Orishas. So, okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah. It's, interesting. What did you say? Witchcraft is so much more than love and money spells, though. She's biased against witches, maybe. And that is what I got from this. There's some bias here because I said, okay, it's almost like she was so busy trying to explain the significance and to separate to the point that she only looked at witchcraft from a very, like, to me, she presented it very negatively. Like, don't worry, it has nothing to do with that. None of that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. That kind of stuff. What does that mean? I still don't understand why she dedicated an entire chapter to Santeria. Like, I don't get it. I honestly don't. Like, what was the point? If you were to do that, because there's other paths. I'm calling them paths, but practices, religion that use Orishas, but she didn't, like, she talked about where certain words derive from. She talked about in the early part, so I understood that because she was talking about like how is it, Lucumi? I hope I'm saying that right. Lucumi. I can spell. I struggle with pronouncing things. But she talked about that, so I understood, and that was a very interesting subject, how she broke that down. But that was as far as it goes, like, to understand like the words itself, and excuse me, how different languages would call, you know, Yoruba and places like that, these different names and all that. So that's where they came from. But this is the one that she decided to really break out. My door is open. Do it yourself does not apply to Santeria. She talks about that too. There is a clearly defined hierarchy in the Santeria religion. Like, I mean, I appreciate the information, but I didn't need to know it. I just want to know more about the Orishas. And if you were going to talk about that, I wanted to know specifically, like, is there something different there with them? And she didn't really tell me that. Excluding that one chapter, which is great for informational purposes, minus that little dig at witchcraft. I do appreciate, like I was saying before, all the other information. I think if you were looking for a book that kind of, you could just sit and be like, all right, what's really going on? I think that she gives a but a very clear study that's short, you know, digestible in one sitting or two, so that you could walk away understanding a lot more when you hear certain terms, or when you hear like, you know, so are they gods? Are they goddesses? You know, and you can answer the question like, oh, so do they not people who, you know, do they worship them, or do they revere them? You know, those types of questions. Or do people who, you know, are in Yoruba traditions, spiritual traditions? You know, do they believe in only one singular God? If so, what do all these other, you know, or the Orisha, or is that part, is he, you know, or he or she, whatever, part of the Orisha? You know, all those types of questions. She answered that for me, because I think sometimes it gets a little confusing. And then can ancestors become part of the Orisha? And she answered that question, which was interesting. So that's possible. Like what she was saying, Shango was a person who became, because, you know, their spirit was so powerful, the deeds that they did in the living and so forth, they can be venerated, or maybe I'm not using the right word, but eventually, you know, as in their ancestral realm, become Orisha. Not, you know, so it's a level, you know, there's levels to this. So even beyond just an I want to say a regular ancestor, but I'm trying not to say anything negative that sounds negative. However, yeah, so I would recommend it if you were really curious and you didn't want to go through a whole bunch of information. I thought this was really interesting. Like, this one part that I highlighted, like, told me a lot of information of stuff I was really curious about. First and foremost, the defining attribute of an Orisha is it's worshipped. It is not just a matter of being a spiritual entity, but more of being a spiritual entity duly worshipped and reverenced by the living. Put into consideration a salient Grecian belief, and that is the gods demand our worship so they could be empowered and willing to intervene in our lives. They need the recognition and reverence of mortals to enable them to exercise such influence. Their relevance is mostly tied to the reverence they derive from mortals, which, if you ever watch American Gods, it's Showtime series. I think they had 3 or 4 seasons and it wrapped. That's some drama behind that one too. But speaking of African gods and deities and all that, but that's another story. Anansi, Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, I remember in at least season 1, they talked about that. I'm pretty sure it was in season 1, toward the end of it. That was a topic of discussion, or maybe season 2. I'm sorry. That the gods, in order for them to basically, they exist, but in order for them to be like, what she says is not just a matter of being a spiritual entity, but more of being a spiritual entity duly worshipped. That's the key. So in that realms that they're in, they're there, but for them to, I guess, be relevant, they need our worship. That's the big secret. The secret of gods and goddesses is, in fact, that they, although they have a considerable measure of power and influence over the physical realm, they need the recognition. The American Gods book is good to explaining that. I'm go ahead and just get into the books, because I was so disappointed with the dang on series after that drama and all that other stuff. And I'd really like to understand more about it. And everybody's saying the books are so much better, and I love to read. So yeah, that's definitely on my list. But that resonated with me when I heard it on the show, and I believe it to be. I seriously do believe it to be true. So I remember. Someone I know had made a comment. He said they have to be fed by worship or they slip away. Exactly. That's what I was about to kind of go into a little bit more. I know, I think it was one of my cousins or somebody had said something a while ago. She was talking about this, and she's fully Christian and all that sort of stuff. But I remember she made like a post or something. This is probably a couple of years ago. And she says something to the effect of, I don't understand how people would believe in a dead God. And I remember that. I don't know who, she was clearly addressing that. It didn't have nothing to do with me. However, what she was basically, I got what she was saying, even though it wasn't meant for me. I got the message. And all I'm thinking to myself is, I could see that. Like, I mean, well, because people stop believing, or people stop worshiping and doing offerings and, like you said, being fed, feeding them. And therefore, I believe there's a realm for those gods and goddesses. I don't think they die, so to speak. I don't think anything ever really dies. They take on a new form, a new type of existence, but not die. But it makes you wonder what happens for those that are not revered anymore if one or two people starts setting up an altar for them, or a group starts worshiping them. I don't know, I think about this. It made me think about that a little bit more. And what's happening in modern times with, it's not that people weren't still working with these Orishas well, not even just Orishas, but, in general, the different older ancient gods and goddesses, but there's a resurgence, there is, of people identifying more with working with these deities. So why not? I'm thinking people might have a hard time that they're really working in other people's lives and really influencing their lives, but they've kind of been snatched out of the other, not snatched, but moved out of the other realm, kind of wherever they chill when not being worshipped, and here they are. I don't know, that's my take on it. So T Gucci, you said that was a mess what they did on the show. Oh my God, I didn't even watch the last season. I may, just because I'm a truist and I can't contain myself. Like, once I start a series, even if it's really sucky, like True Blood, what they did in the end, that for me, a serious fan, like a for real crazy fan, it pissed me off what they did to that show. It was like they lost all continuity, everything. And if I had read the books, American Gods, if I read the series, finished it and watched it, I know I'd probably be more pissed off, because I had read the Sookie Stackhouse mystery books like at least 4 different times, because that's how much of a crazy fan I was. I love the series, I love the story, and I loved other books by Charlene Harris, that's the author of that series. Because if I become a fan, and I tell you I'm a super fan, I'm like really a super fan, I get into it. I had the t-shirt, I had the True Blood drinks that they were selling, everything. I went all in. So it was like seriously disappointing what they did with that series. So yeah, American Gods, they really messed that up. But regardless of everything, I just went on a tangent about on chapter 5. What is Santeria? I keep saying that, sorry. It's the American English tongue that I've been bred to use when I approach certain words. I really do struggle with accents. I struggle with reading other languages, because I suffer from, being Americanized and growing up in this country. He said, I haven't watched American Gods yet because of what they did. I was like, do I really need this? Exactly. There was all that drama with the actor. I won't go into the whole thing, but he played a Nancy and an Nazi. And yeah, he was able to produce a couple shows that season. And he did. And they did well. And they resonated with a lot of people. But he went in. They showed the scene of Africans coming on slave ships and how he came with them. That's how he was brought to this world, the new world, Americas. And just talked about that. They talked about actually how the gods or goddesses, I guess, some were brought here as well. It was so good. Sorry. It was brought here. They were brought here, and that's an interesting, each of them, how they all came, because you have to wonder sometimes when we talk about like the Fae and things of that nature, were they in this land already? How did they get here? So, that kind of opens your mind up, that show, on how that could happen. So now I got to get the books. Thank you for reminding me how much I want to read those books. But yeah, the other thing that I wanted to point out, back to these resins, these incense. If you are, again, I talked about the Crystal Bible, and this is just reference because sometimes I show things, and again, it's all fun. You get excited about grabbing new things, flowers, herbs, and so forth. But if you are anything like me, you might buy stuff, accumulate things, and then you go back and you're like, what is this supposed to be for again? Some things you remember, but other things you forget. I got this, dang, this wasn't even the right one. I wanted the herbal one. What did I do with it? Although this will do too. This wasn't the right one. Dang it, it's green too. It's the other Scott Cunningham. I don't know what I did with the book. I grabbed this, it was green. I assumed I grabbed the right one. This is an old book. This is my first witchcraft book that I ever got. I kept it. But take me back. Look at this. A guide for the solitary practitioners. One of the first ones that I bought. This was not what I meant to grab off my bookshelf. I need a new bookshelf so bad because everything's so tight and crazy. It's hard to tell. But I was trying to grab my one it's like a guide for herbs. It's also green. And now I don't know what I did with it. But I was going to reference it and just tell you that you could keep a book like that, an herbal reference book, so that you're always able to, it doesn't have pictures in it either, but as long as you label it, you know what it is. But like you'll see red sandalwood or, dragon's blood, stuff like that. So you can understand the significance of it. I did not mean to grab this. Things are happening for a reason. Maybe it's something I'm supposed to look at here in my old Wiccan Bible, because that's what it was to me at the time. I used to, an herbal grimoire. So look at this. They do have a section in here, by the way. Ooh, papers. What was this? Oh my God, it's an old note from years ago. Oh, this would happen for a reason. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is happening like for real, for real. Oh, I remember this. Oh, okay. Wow, okay, wow. All right, so nothing happens for this is not what I meant to grab. I have not looked at this in forever. Wow. You said I donate a lot of books if the information doesn't resonate. However, I keep a lot just for I love to keep things for reference, especially if this meant something to me all those years ago. Like this was helpful in explaining a lot like everything. It helped me build the basis of understanding all of this. I remember loaning this book to somebody who asked about witchcraft and Wicca. They were curious to know about all of this sort of stuff, and I let them use this, and they gave it back to me. But yeah, dang, it's not telling me a lot in the herbal grimoire section. But anyway, I had a whole book based on that, which one day I know as soon as I get off this, I'll find it. But this is so cool that I found. Maybe I'll look through here. Maybe I shall look through here a little bit more. There might be something in here that I find, I don't know, helpful. Besides these notes that I had from a long, long time ago. It's something out of Blue Jay. I wrote down Blue Jay animal symbolism resonates truth, faithfulness, and solidarity because they're vigilant in their tasks. Keep the same mate for life, which is symbolic of endurance, patience, and loyalty. So there was something about a blue jay that came up. Okay. Nothing is by coincidence. Nothing at all. What is that freaking other book? Magical Herbalism. They actually talk about it in the back of this book. I knew they would. Yeah, Magical Herbalism, The Secret Craft of the Wise by Scott Cunningham. If I had I own this, but I don't know what I did with it. And it's also green. But anyway, yeah, that book, that's the one, Magical Herbalism. I keep that on deck. I've had it for years. It is still a great reference when I want to remember about certain things. Look, I had a card in here marking off certain sections. I'm telling you. This is real. This just made me happy. Anyway, let me put these notes back in here and meditate on this and find out what Spirit wanted me to know with that. Because I should not have grabbed this book. I don't even know why I did. But anyway, moving on. Keep a reference around you, or as it was suggested to me earlier, start your own reference book. For me, I am visual with stuff like this. I will need to see a picture. I'm going to need a picture so I can take a picture, print it out, And remember, you could take a picture of something and print it out on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be photo paper, of like my crystals and even like things like this. Because, you know, if I take it out of this, if I don't have it labeled correctly, it's like, what is this again? You know, like I said, I don't remember everything. I try my hardest, but you know, I don't remember everything. Or like my dried flowers, so I can identify it and put its magical purposes. Actually, that's a great idea, because even though something is known for protection and something else, it might also be known for prosperity. And if I find that it works for me in a totally different way, I can put that in my book and I could use it accordingly, you know? So that's pretty cool. But those are the items for review. This is really, yeah, I gotta tell the company about my lack of amethyst now that I'm looking at it. They sent me the stones, but not the exact stones that I ordered. So I will be talking about that. One other thing I forgot to mention on the little card here that they give you, there is this, it says how to use chakra stones and crystals. So they tell you they're great for healing and balancing your chakras. You can wear them as jewelry, bracelets, pendants, use them, or you can use the tumbled or raw gemstones by placing them on your chakras. And then they just try the crystal water chakra stones, dye it, wear crystal pendants, enhance the energy with crystal grids, do that. Build altars and shrines with chakra crystals, cleanse and revive the energy of your home with gemstones, and balance the chakras by placing chakra stones in your body. They just listed them out again. So in case you didn't know. Right, that is a great idea. The thing about the books and setting up your own with the stuff that how it makes sense to you. And you can write down how it's supposed to be used, or how it's, I guess, accepted to be used. But, you know, if you've had different results with this, you know, use it. Which, by the way, I wonder sometimes if that's because of your ancestral line, the regions you were from culturally, like ancient stuff, you know. And it's, you know, where on this side of the world, this thing or this variation of this plant or something like that was used this way, but your people, they always used it that way. And that's why, and you know, that has gotten lost in the time, but you instinctively, because certain things are passed in our DNA, and, you know, you just know as a witch to use it the old way, the ancient way that no one remembers to use it, because why would they know, right? It would be great in HP2, so you can change, the Happy Planner, change out the pages. Man, look, I have been wrestling with this idea. I have no business. And when I say I have no business, y'all see my planner stack and all my journals. So I have no business starting another book of shadows. However, I have been toying with the idea, just for the sake of fun, of creating a happy planner book of shadows. I've seen other people do it. And, you know, I got my handy dandy Cricut machine over here, so I can make all kinds of cool stuff, you know, precision cut to do it. So this has been something I have been thinking about. And if I do it, I'll do it. And I was thinking about even like selling pages, like actually selling the pages. So I can show you, but if you want that same thing, and here's the cool thing about it, you can always add more. That's the awesome thing about Happy Planner. If you don't know, this is Happy Planner's skinny notebook, but these little pages here, they pop out, and that's what makes it so cool. And then they pop right back in. So that's what makes the Happy Planner so cool, because you can pop in pages and pop out. So, you know, it can get as big as you want, and you can get bigger rings and things like that. So you say it would be great. Yeah. Yes. Do you like the Cricut? I love my Cricut. Oh my God. Yes, I love it. Ooh, I'd love to see your book of shadow plan. Yeah. So creating it now, I would say because it is a happy planner, and when you see like the regular I don't have one in my reach. It's off camera, but when you see it, people think, oh, calendar events and things like that. Yes, but I'm thinking, if I'm thinking Book of Shadows, it's beyond just planning things. And if so, the planner part, I would still have the planner part on there, undated, because come on. But I was toying with the idea of, okay, well, having that, but like making sure put the moon phases are, all types of pagan holidays and fun holidays, because I'm a big on just celebrating life as best as you can. But also, witchy quotes and other things that you can take in, and affirmations, and all sorts of stuff, and just kind of tapping into kind of how, for lack of better words, like, I don't want to say real witches, but practical witches, like modern everyday practical witches, the things that resonate with us. Not everybody does the same thing, but there are certain things universally as witches that we kind of do. I don't know. I would struggle to not make it more geared toward cottage witchery, because that's my jam. So, but yeah, that is something but you guys just, all I needed was one person to nudge me over on this. I like the A5 size, so I can use that for my disc, but it's hard to find inserts. You can start to make your own. Here's a fun fact about A5, because I do have some. You go to Staples, any office supply store. I don't know if I have it. Let me see if I keep some of my supplies here. Let me see. Yeah, I got it right here. This stuff right here. You're gonna need a paper cutter, which they sell at Michael's, and they're relatively cheap. You get some of this self-sealed laminating pouches, and it takes no heat. You don't need a machine, and you already have the equivalent of the same texture almost of a dashboard that you would have in like the divider pages in the planner or the cover. You just create your own. And you can put, things like that in. It's all about the paper quality. So if you buy shiny paper, just get a paper cutter. Like old school, like in a classroom, they had those paper cutters that lay down, and before you used to slice them, but now they have the kind you just pull the, slide the thing across, and it cuts it exactly. So you just learn the right sizes for your planner, and you just duplicate that with everything you cut out. So you could have fun with it. You can find images on Pinterest, just on Google, and you can print those things out. You can laminate it, and put them in your A5. Oh, and you're gonna need an A5 hole punch, which also, that's sold. I know Michael's has those. Catch it on sale with a 40% coupon. Yeah, I'm very DIY in the planner. With the planner, journaling, all that. When I tell y'all I'm into it, I'm into it. Like, this is a real thing. I discover my calling. I love all things stationery, paper crafts, all that. And I'm always growing, because the next thing I know, I'll probably get into like the distress look and stamping. I kind of like that a lot, but easy. I gotta be easy. One, I'm gonna run out of space. I'm already under my desk. I'm in this cabinet. I got stuff stacked over here. I have a whole tray on the other side with wheels. So I'm a bit out of control. But is there really a such thing as being out of control with crafts? If you're using them, I think if you buy a bunch of stuff and you never use them, maybe that's not cool. And I would ask you why. What's going on? Why are you not using your crafts? And sometimes it's just for a season, depression, life got busy, small children, all that. Yes, junk journaling, all that sort of stuff happens. And sometimes, we kind of lose favor with this stuff that used to bring us joy, but try to get back into it. My newest thing is painting, and I have a cool video, a witchy craft that I'm going to share with you next week, Wednesday. And I hope you guys really enjoy that, because after doing this little project, I got the painting bug. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you get nothing from watching me do these crafts, know that I am no way a professional. I have never been like paid to paint or craft or do anything for anybody. I've never tried to do that sort of stuff. However, it just brings me joy. And I think if you watch me, and I just want you to feel kind of inspired, it's like, okay, she's you could tell I don't know everything I'm doing, as far as application of using certain things, but I'm doing it anyway. So Wednesday, when you watch that video, just be prepared, have something of your own, and we can, kind of craft together. And you say you use all your crafts. Exactly. I do now. I do now. Now it's fun. I love creating all this stuff and seeing the stuff that I've done. It makes me, I don't know, it makes me happy. And the more I do it, I'm tapping into the energy that I was in when I did the video you'll see on Wednesday. All I kept thinking about was this opens up, like as a witch, for me, it opens up this whole other part of myself where I get to be more imaginative, more creative. And that's like, just, I don't know, that raises my frequency. So when I'm doing any other type of spell work, like I'm just vibrating so high. I don't want to say it works. My stuff is really working. You definitely inspire to play with my crafty stuff. Yes, cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm by no means am I an artiste. But, I want us, adult people out there who are watching this to tap into that energy, tap into that creative side, because it does directly influence your spells, the rituals, your magic. Yes, art is magic. It truly is. It's like, if you really think about it, it starts up here. A lot of people don't even know the vision. They just have pieces of ideas, bits, colors, overall concept. It's just floating around in your consciousness. But there's this magic that's happening where it comes out, from here down to your, whatever your medium is. I'm assuming you're using your hands. And then you just create it. That is so cool. That's magic. Like, you can't tell me that's not magic. To be able to do that, like, and then like the emotion that comes with it. Like, you can get really emotional about something that you created for yourself, or you could create it from a specific emotion. I don't know. It's all magic. It's all magic. But anyway, yeah, this was the Witchy review. This was not I don't want to like deter you. I didn't understand, but I don't agree with everything. When I read a lot of the books I get, I don't agree with everything that they write. It's very rare that I do, but this one, overall, majority of it was informative. And if you were wondering, not saying you're going down a certain path, but for your own personal knowledge, you wanted to kind of order your thoughts when it came to this sort of stuff. Because I had a lot of thoughts, but I wanted to sort of order them. So that's why, I got this for me. I wanted to share it with you, but when I saw it, it was for me. I wanted to know. And this helped a lot, assuming this author's information is correct. But this helped me a lot. And she made it, I appreciate her writing style, because it made it so it was easy for me to understand. So, excuse me. I'll end it here. Coughing fit is going to start. This has to stop. All right. So I'm going to wrap up. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. I'm going to get my allergies situated. It's time for me to take another Claritin. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, share, all of that other stuff. All right. Bye, everybody.